Welcome back to the Art and Yoga and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Kira Whitaker. In today's video, we are going to be having a very honest conversation about our bodies, how we speak about our bodies, the way we see old versions of ourselves, and how that can directly impact our current health and wellness, and also how it can impact us when we're setting goals and we're trying to move forward in a positive state in our health and wellness. So tune into today's video and we will have a little chat about our bodies and how we talk about them and how we see them. See you soon. Welcome back to the Art and Yoga and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Kira Whitaker. So I had a completely different podcast plan for today. And when I got up to my office and I started going through Voxer messages, Voxer is the app that I use. It's a messaging app that I use with my health coaching clients so that in between our weekly Zoom sessions, they can reach out to me for support. So they might reach out to me for accountability. They might reach out to me with questions. They might reach out to me if they run into barriers and they need to troubleshoot things. I also, for some of my clients, I help find resources for them for referrals to kind of build out their health and wellness team. And so I'm in Voxer all the time. And so my plan today was to do a life update because I think back in August, I did a podcast episode just kind of winding up the summer, talking about some things that we're doing business-wise, talked about some wellness goals that I was setting for myself, some overhauls I was going to do going into the fall season, some things that I was implementing. So I was going to do a catch up on that. And then I checked in on Voxer and I read a message from one of my clients who I'm not going to go into any detail. I always, above all else, will protect confidentiality and anonymity between my clients and I. But what came up for me when I was looking at this message, so this client and I have been working together for, I think, going on a year. And I've worked with this client in other capacities outside of health coaching. I've worked with this client in yoga therapy before, a lot of different ways. But we specifically have been working for probably the past 9 months on health coaching. Now, a lot of clients that come to me for health coaching, the majority of them, almost all of them, are females. In my yoga practice, my yoga therapy practice that I work with clients one-on-one in, I've got, it's like 60-40, so female and male. So I work with males, but for some, I don't know why. It is what it is. Most of them in health coaching are females. And so a lot of the females that I work with come to me because, in a nutshell, they're just not happy in their bodies. And they've gotten to a point where they are no longer able to find success or be consistent in their health and wellness on their own. And so they need someone to help support them to facilitate change, make the change, and then also figure out how to sustain that change moving forward. And so a lot of females that come to me because of weight issues or they're perimenopausal. Maybe I'm 36. Maybe they're not really in the season of menopause yet, but they've just noticed that their hormones have changed. What used to work movement wise, dietary wise, rest wise, no longer provides the same success that it used to. So they want to work on that. So a lot of different things. Everything is customized and it really depends on the individual. But that's a lot of the conversations and a lot of the kind of cases, if you will, that I work with. So when I was checking into Voxer with my health coaching clients, I had one client who was kind of reporting in. And it was one of those moments where it was like, and we've arrived. This is why we do this. This is the journey. This is what happens when you will, metaphorically, like crawl on your hands and knees towards hope of what is possible for you in your health and wellness. And this client sent me a message and I was like, and here we are. This is what happens when you stick with it and you do the deep dive into all of the areas of your health and wellness, and you pursue that relationship with yourself relentlessly. This client gave the most beautiful and eloquent feedback of the empathy that she had for her body and the way that she used to talk to her body, and how she no longer sees her body that way. And that she now, and she listed all of these just words that were just tender and empathetic and kind and loving and honoring. And so many times I see clients speak about their current body that, yes, we need to work on things. Are there facts about our health and wellness? When I say that, facts, meaning there's certain numbers metabolically that will not help you from a longevity standpoint, that if you want to, we can work on, because your health and longevity are going to radically affect your quality of life. It just is. And so those things do matter. But I'm here to tell you, when I was the thinnest in my life and I was being affirmed for my thinness, when women would come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I wish that I was your size. Oh my gosh, I wish that I could fit into jeans like that, whatever it may be. When I was affirmed the most for my weight, my body, was when my eating disorder was at an all-time high. So just because we are or were or had a certain point in our life where we were a certain size, it doesn't necessarily mean that was when you were thriving. So I want us to keep that in mind. When we're on a journey in our health and wellness, the physical, the way the body looks is oftentimes a representation of the care that is going into that body. But the same thing can be true for the way a body looks, can also be a representation for the way that body is not being cared for. When I was at my thinnest and everyone thought that I had a great body and I was just lean and long and all the things, I was 2 seconds away from being in an inpatient eating disorder clinic. Okay? So my point here is, do the numbers matter? Is a size something that, yes, is measurable? And sometimes when we're setting goals, it is important to have something that could be measured. But where I come from my viewpoint, and my hope for my clients and myself and my daughter and my friends, is I want you to feel at home in your body. I don't want you to be on this constant and consistent hamster wheel of finding and identifying what perfection looks like, putting that on a pedestal, and then attaching yourself and your self-worth so deeply and so tightly to that vision and to that weight on a scale and that pant size, that if for some reason something shifts in your life and that's no longer obtainable or easy, I don't want to say easy, simple, if you're simple to get to or stick with, that your mindset and your relationship with yourself completely detonates. Because if I was still so attached to being a certain size, if I was not able to maintain that, which I'm not, I am not the same size as I was 3 years ago. And for a period of time, because I have such a deep history of eating disorders and body dysmorphia, it was almost like my workouts didn't count. Well, yeah, I'm still working out and doing yoga every day, and I'm still hydrating and I'm doing all the things, but those acts of kindness and self-care, which I know are good and need to happen, those things, because they didn't provide me the same pant size as they used to, they weren't enough. They weren't good enough. Instead of having the mindset and perspective of going, how do I want to feel in my body? What are the things that are important to me in my life? And then if I do all of these acts consistently, however my body looks after that, that's good enough. because I want to feel at home in my body. What I don't want to do is restrict and work so hard to perfect an outward body that my mindset and the brain and the human and the soul that has to live and exist in this body is miserable. And so when I have messages from clients like I did today, where my clients have an empathy for their body, they honor the way their body carries them through their day-to-day life, the way that they honor the way their body is able to move when they use verbiage like strong, resilient, well, rested when describing their body, instead of holding so tightly to the outward appearance of their body. I go, this is what we want. This is what we want. This is what an embodied sense of wellness means. And this is what it looks like when you're able to carry it out in an actionable way in your everyday life. And so my message for you today, the thing that I hope to leave you with, is the powerful question of, how do you want to feel in your body? And when you are moving in a way that honors your body, when you're nourishing your body, not just from a nutrition standpoint, but the relationships that you have, the things you take in on social media, everything that you're nourishing your body with, when you rest well, when you prioritize turning everything off, and when you give yourself permission to rest without having to work your body and your mind into submission first, when you're doing all those things, how does your body feel? And how do you feel in your body? And that's what I want to encourage you to implement as your currency and your measurements of your body and your health, instead of your pant size and what the scale says and how you used to fit into this and that 5 years ago, or before you had a baby, or before your hormones changed. It's just no way to live, and you will constantly be beating yourself up, and you will constantly be adopting a bully voice in your head that says what you're doing now and where you're headed, and what the reality of this body that got you to this age and this point is not enough. And that's a lie. And it doesn't align with wellness. It doesn't align with a holistic view of a thriving life. And that's my hope for my clients. That's my hope for you. That's my hope for myself. That's what I want for me. That's what I want to embody, and I want to act out so that my children see it. I don't want my daughter to see me holding on to jeans from 10 years ago, and then when I can't fit in them, restricting or working out more because I hope to be able to fit. Like, I don't want that for her. I don't want to demonstrate that and embody that in our home, because that's something that I don't want her to adopt. So many things in our parenting is caught and not taught. And so even if you're not a parent, these are things to think about. And so with that, I want to encourage you to take care of yourself. I want to encourage you to move your body. I want to encourage you to hydrate. I want to encourage you to sleep. I want to encourage you to give yourself permission to rest. But I want you to do that because you're worthy of that. And your self-worth, it is not dependent on a certain weight and size. And so if this is something that spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. If this is something that you feel really secure in, and this is a journey that you all have been on, and you've successfully felt like you've been able to successfully be consistent for a while, and you've got, some skin in the game, maybe share it with a friend. And also, I want to remind us all, when we are in conversations around health and wellness and bodies and movement, to be gentle, because just because someone looks a certain way does not mean that is a direct representation of their state of wellness. Because when I was getting affirmed for so many years of my weight. I was really, really lonely, and I was really unwell, and I didn't know how to care for myself. So that was not a true and honest representation of wellness. So I hope that this very, very random and unplanned episode was helpful and provided you with things to think about. It provided you with some insight, and you felt somewhat supported by it. So I will catch you guys next time. And until then, thank you for listening and watching the Arden Yoga and Wellness podcast. I'll see you next time.